May the Schwartz be with you. Hey everybody, Mikeycat Outdoors here. So what are we doing today? I'm just going to take a look at a few different 40-liter backpacks that I've got. Just going to kind of do just a rough size comparison of them and just kind of give you in and outs of some of the features. So let's check it out. Alright everybody, here's 5 backpacks that I've got that are in the, they say 40-liter main body volume, and they estimate about 65-ish on everything else. So, I don't know. Cottage vendors are goofy on how they do volumes, so I'm going to go more so by the main body and what the size of some of the accessories are. So we'll go from there. So here on the left, I got the new Durston Kakwa 40-liter. It's in Ultra 200. I just got that in a few days ago. I'm going to put it through its paces. And so far, seems like it's a decent backpack. Next to that, I got the LiteAF. It's the Curve 40-liter with full suspension. And you notice on these two, they've got the kind of more rugged webbing. It's not that stretchy lycra stuff. That's kind of what they've been putting on these just for durability. Kakwa's got some pockets on the hip belt. The LiteAF doesn't come with pockets on the hip belt, but you can get add-ons. Here in the middle, this is the only frameless one out of these. This is the Volpi 40-liter backpack, and I got this from Garage Grown Gear. This one seems to be fairly decent construction, but if you need a little more structure to it, you may need to put in some sort of internal sit pad or foam or something to give it more rigidity if you want. But it's definitely the lightest out of all of them in here. Coming forward here, the blue one is Gossamer Gear G4-20. Yeah, man, 420, baby. And it's got some pockets on the hip belt, which is nice. It's one of the more inexpensive backpacks on the list here. It's kind of got this stretchy lycra type back pocket, and this is just like a regular nylon type material. I'll get all the specs and stuff, but it's not as durable as the rest of these. The Volpi and the orange Circuit are both XPAC, and then the LiteAF and the Durston are both Ultra 200. Like I say, coming down here on the end, we've got the ULA Circuit in a bright orange XPAC fabric. And I've got stuff in my regular Robic 400 XPAC, but the premium to go from Robic to XPAC didn't seem to be a whole lot from what I remember, but the new Ultra 24, which is a combination of Ultra 200 and Ultra 400, they're selling them for $100 more than their base circuits. They also have that in their ohm and catalyst. So that's an option I may explore in the future, but I'm really going to give some of these other contenders a good shakedown and see, is it really worth it? Do I want to spend $100 extra bucks to just upgrade to a different fabric? Alright, so I've got the Durston Kakwa 40 on the left and the LiteAF Curve 40 on the right, both in Ultra 200, and I'm doing a pillow test with them. So whether you love them or hate them, Mike Lindell makes a pretty snappy pillow. So I got the same queen size my pillow that I'm going to put in all these, just kind of give you a volumetric comparison of a loaded pack. That way you can see, you know, just roughly how much space you got in there for stuff. The little differences between them on their size specs, you know, bottom and top and whatnot. But overall, I mean, they're all going to be within a liter of each other for the most part. Only one that might be a little bigger, and we'll see, is a Circuit. So here on the Kakwa 40, of course, you've got your little bit of elastic here on the outside of your non-elastic, non-stretchy pocket. And these types of pockets are great if you're in rainy weather. They're more durable too. They won't get snagged up as bad and rip as bad as some of that, you know, stretchy nylon stuff. Likewise, this one, it's got a little bit of elastic kind of built into a band up here just to give it some spring back. This one here seems to have a little more spring in its step. But you can see they both got some side compression straps, you know, just little cordage. Pockets, not the deepest in these ones. The Kakwa's got two kind of off-sized ones. This is a smaller one that you can supposedly fit a couple of bottles in. And then they've got this larger pocket over here on the other side to your left. And it's supposed to have a little zipper pouch there too that you can like put a hat or something in. That you can reach back and put stuff in and out of the side pocket. That's separate from where you put your water bottles or tent or whatnot you want to put in here. So that's kind of one neat feature on this one that the others don't have. And then of course the Curve, the pockets are pretty much the same on both sides, and they've got just a little bit of cordage there to tighten down the tops. That's one thing that I don't see on the Durston Kakwa. I don't see any like adjustment parts, but there's still a lot of elasticity to these. Whereas most of the other brands, if you want to adjust them, you know, you've just got some cordage that you can lock down a little bit. So getting up here to the tops, you've got a couple of snaps on the Curve 40. And you can kind of see where the pillow winds up, kind of near the natural top of where you would be in your backpack. So you've still got another, I'll say a good foot there of height that you could use for volume. Likewise over here on the Kakwa, you got about similar. They're about the same height roughly, next to each other here. And, you know, similar setup. Alright, one thing that the Durston Kakwa and the LiteAF Curve 40 both have is a top Y strap. So the one on the LiteAF is a lot wider and doesn't seem to tighten down as far either. It's got all these extra adjustment points here that you can really add on more volume to this. So if you really have your pack loaded up higher, this one might work a little better for you. But I've got this all the way strapped down on here, and if you have a really small pack load, this one's probably gonna be, you know, a little harder to tighten everything down. But if you got like a really wide sleep pad, tent, big bag of chips, or whatever, this top Y strap here will be helpful for that. The Durston Kakwa also has a Y strap. It's got an adjustment here on the side actually, which is a little different. And then you've got another adjustment here on the front. And this one seems to be able to pack down a lot tighter. So if you got a smaller, tighter load that you want, that one's pretty good. Now in terms of the rest of the build on these packs, they've both got fairly decent straps. The LiteAF is a lot more padded from what it feels. There's just a lot more padding material and fluff there. And they both got, you know, some loops where you can hang, you know, your InReach Explorer or carabiner or whatever on there. Not too bad. And both of these have these little like water bottle pockets actually on the pack straps. Now, those could get in the way of other things that you might have to put up higher, but you know, if you want to shift some of your weight to the front and have like a smart water bottle in each of the front pockets here, probably be all right. Merry Christmas. So, the LiteAF Curve 40 here, got it on with that pillow in there, and comes with extra cordage and stuff too. I think you can make your little X's on the back if you want. But you've got your standard sternum thing. These come up fairly high on the chest, at least on me. Now this is a medium torso and a medium hip belt on mine. The hip belt does not come with any pocket standard, but you can get ones with like the clip-on option that you can put on as an added, you know, extra if you want. It really depends what you use them for, if you want the extra weight, if you want the extra storage or not. It's personal preference. As far as the belt goes, back here it's got 4 points that you can pull forward to tighten this, whereas most of the other belts usually just have 2 points, you know, one on each side. This has a total of 4 here because of the way the straps are made. This one does not have load lifters on it. If you want load lifters on LiteAF, you usually have to go up to the Curve 46 liter, and you can get it as an option on there. But the 40, this was one that was on the shelf, and even a 40 that you would get custom built is going to be the same way. They're not going to have load lifters. So if you have shoulder problems or you want load lifters, that's just one thing to keep in consideration, that and the lack of the hip belt pockets here. But otherwise, you know, everything seems to be pretty nice and comfortable with this pack so far. I'll have to really weigh it down, probably put 30-40 pounds in it and see how it feels up against my shoulders, on my hips, all that. But as far as the frame of this pack, it's got 2 aluminum stays that are like one on each side, and the Durston has like a U-shaped stay, so this one will give some support, you know, for vertical loads, but horizontal swing, it may not be as rugged in that regard. The ULA Circuit and the Durston Kakwa 40, like I say, are going to have that U-shaped frame to them, so they're going to be a little more, you know, rigid and supporting in a lot of other, you know, twisting environments and stuff. So that's another thing just to keep in consideration in terms of how they're all built. And you may want to know, can I reach the pockets? I can get my hands in there. Now if you have a water bottle up there, it might be a little trickier, but at least I can put my hands back in them. Seems to be alright so far. And like I said, these, I've had these on like a ULA fast pack type design, and it helps bring some of that weight forward instead of having it on your back. So, you know, you want water, you want a little snack or something here, it's kind of nice, but there are compromises to all these design points. Alright, so here's the Durston Kakwa 40. So this one just has 2 little pulls here, and you pull them forward to tighten it up, which is nice. So the way the belt comes back around, you can pull forward instead of having to pull back in a weird way. So this is a nice natural ergonomic thing. This pack does actually have load lifters on it. So if you want to tighten this stuff down, you can do that. So that is one nice thing about this pack that a lot of other smaller packs don't have, are the load lifters. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Pockets, a little harder to reach back there with that tiny one. And then this big one, oh good lord, yeah. I ain't gonna be able to reach on that when I'm hiking, so I'd probably have to take it off. But like I say, they do have this other pocket here that you can stash stuff back in there if you need to. And they claim you can put a hat or something in there you know, while you're hiking, which I guess you could. And if I can get that zipped up. All right. So other thing this one's got going for it too are the belt pockets, and of course they've got the weather resistant zippers on there, which is nice. That's what my ULA Circuit with the XPAC has, is the weather rated ones. So you can't fit a whole lot in these pockets, you know, if you had snacks or something, but if you're trying to fit like a really large cell phone or something in there, probably won't fit from all the reviews and things I've seen so far out there about it. When I weigh this one down, I'm going to try to get a little more, you know, feel for how this whole strap system is. But I have heard one or two people online comment about their body types, that the way the strap system is on the top of this, that the extra material can sometimes kind of rub into their neck a little bit. So far I haven't seen it, but I'd have to weigh it down, hike around a few miles with it, and just see how it feels. So overall, this one's a lot cheaper. LiteAF on the shelf was like $325. This one, $250. So a bit of savings there. Like I say, there's pros and cons to all of them. You know, it all comes down to personal preference. So I'm going to go and show you some of the other backpacks as alternatives to the new Ultra backpacks that I just showed you now. So the Volpi obviously doesn't have a frame, makes it light, but it also makes some loading considerations. If you have a heavy load, you're going to feel more miserable if you don't have a frame. The 420 uses a rigid foam sit pad that kind of goes in the back as its structural member, and that has pros and cons to it too. And then the ULA has the actual, like, I've heard between different models, you know, I think the new Ultra ones have Delrin and carbon fiber suspension, but I think these older ones still have the aluminum one. I could be wrong, could be Delrin, but I'll try to find that information out. But needless to say, depending on how your body type is, what kind of load you're carrying and everything, different packs are going to behave differently on you. So just keep those in consideration whenever you're trying to purchase one. All right, it's dimming down a little bit out here. I'll try to get some more light in a minute. Got the Volpi 40-liter pack on the left there, and you got the Gossamer Gear G4-20 here on the right. So big differences between them. This comes in XPAC material. You can get it in like a grayish color or black, and still got a bit of volume in there. One little snap up on the top to seal it. This one has quite a bit of room still vertically in there. Does not have any snaps or Velcro or anything, you know, up at the top. Some people really don't want Velcro on there, by the way, but a snap sometimes comes in handy. As far as the straps go, nicely padded, but also kind of firm. You've got this back pad in here that kind of sits in this pocket, and you can actually take that out and sit on it if you need to. The Volpi, I added a third-party little Dyneema water bottle holder on there, and or maybe it was theirs, I don't remember. But yeah, in terms of the belts and stuff, well, padding on this too. There's some light padding on this, but it's not as thick as some of the other pads, backpack straps. So I think that was like 180-ish. And that one, maybe about the same, 180 to 200 range. So these are more affordable. They're more economical for you. The Volpi does not have any pockets, whereas the G4-20 does have some pockets, and I am going to get some more light because this sucks. Coming up here to the strap system. So on the 420, it straps down pretty well. And nice thing about this one, it's got the side pull down straps on both sides. It's almost like the ULA backpacks, so you can tighten this lid real nice and tight. And then on the Volpi, you've just got, you know, your standard, you know, clasp everything together and then just one strap. And it tightens down fairly tight too. Now, these two have just a single strap on top, and the ULA is kind of like that too. So if you had like a big sleeping pad, big bag of Doritos, whatever, you know, something real bulky, bear canister, these ones probably would not situate it as easily as, say, the other two that have the Y straps. So depending what your needs are, that's something to keep in mind on these. XPAC is going to be a little more waterproof for you than the nylon material here, which I'm sure is treated with a DWR coating. But depending on type of weather and type of seasons, you know, that's another thing, is to look at the type of materials that these packs are made of. So yeah, in terms of choice of materials, a lot of vendors are now starting to move over to the Ultra 200, Ultra 400 materials, which are recycled, ultra high density polyethylene type material, and it has like an inner scrim layer, similar to like what XPAC would have. So it basically keeps water from infiltrating in, and you're still going to have some issues where, you know, if things aren't seam taped, you might still get some water into the pack. So if you're really cautious about it, it's still probably a good idea to have an inner pack liner on any of these. But similar to Dyneema, it's going to repel a lot of the water. XPAC has that, but it has a little more weight penalty to it, and over time it can kind of break down a little bit. Dyneema's been getting a lot harder to find during the pandemic, just because of the supply chain issues and whatnot. And so a lot of people are kind of moving over to Ultra 400 as time goes on. And right now, some people are charging a premium, some are not. But I think it's going to be one of those materials that moving forward, a lot more pack manufacturers are going to be using. So if you want something that's cheaper, lower end, you could probably still go with an XPAC if you want waterproofness. You could go with a Robic 400 if you want something that's really durable and tough, like in thickets and briars. That's one thing that Dyneema is not. It's not that tough. The Ultra 400 is tough, kind of like Robic. So that's another reason why they're kind of moving to it, is because of the durability, and it's not going to like wear down, and it's not going to snag as bad as, you know, some of the older lightweight fabrics out there. Alright everybody, I've got the Gossamer Gear G4-20 here, and this one does not have load lifters. Also, the hip belt, instead of pulling forward to tighten it, you got to kind of pull these back to be able to tighten this up. So ergonomically, this pack is not as nice as some of the others in those two regards. You do have nice hip pockets and stuff here that you can store stuff in. That's not too bad. Got a nice big add-on accessory that you can put your cell phone or something in. That's nice. It's relatively inexpensive for a pack. But with the sit pad being the structural support system, that could cause some sweatiness on your back. Of course, all these, you know, it's just going to depend on your body type. But the sit pad can serve as a double duty when you get to camp. If you want to unload stuff and use that sit pad for some reason, you can. But if you're in the middle of a hike somewhere and you don't have all your stuff laid out, you probably don't want to take it out and put it back in, because it might be a little persnickety. But that's just one thing to keep in mind with this one. Being nylon with DWR and stuff on it too, it's not going to repel the water as much as, say, the Ultras or the XPAC fabrics. Dyneema is also one of those fabrics that's really well for repelling water, but this is kind of in the middle, so it's some of the trade-offs that you're going to have on this pack. but it's a pretty blue. Or you can get it in gray. Alright, so I've got the Volpi 40-liter pack here. This one has a single belt adjustments that you pull forward ergonomically, so that's nice. Also has load lifters on it, so you can pull your weight forward if you want, which is really nice in terms of ergonomics. Now, since this is a frameless backpack, be aware if you have more than, say, 10 or 15 pounds, you're going to have to start being a little smart in terms of how you're carrying your weight in this. Obviously, carry your heavier stuff up higher. You may want to put like a sit pad or sleep pad or something in the back to kind of pad stuff if you got bumpy things in there. And if you got a lot of food items and stuff weighing you down, you know, it helps with having a good hip belt and load lifters. But, you know, if you want a little more support, you may find that you want to go to an actual framed pack. But in terms of lightness, this is definitely the lightest one. I think it's like 18.5 ounces. All the other packs are in like the 2-pound range. So this one, you know, in terms of the pack itself, it's definitely the lightest. And it's affordable too. And with XPAC, it's fairly decent for water resistance. So, you know, all these packs are going to have pros and cons to them. And it really depends on what feels right for you. The lack of the pockets, like I said, if you want to add some on, you could probably go to like LiteAF or a couple other vendors and get the little clip-on ones and put them on there if you really want. But it really depends how fast and light you want to go or how much storage you want. It's all up to you, baby. So let's move on to the ULA Circuit. Yeah. Alright, so right here I've got my bright orange XPAC ULA Circuit, and I like the Robic 400 one a lot. I've used this one a couple times for rainier conditions. It's got that nice scrim lining in there, so it won't soak up the water as much. And this has a boat ton of storage space in it. So what's interesting is with ULA, they quote this as a 68-liter pack, and when you look at the numbers broken down, it comes out to like 2,400 cubic inches on the inside, which is about 40-ish liters inside, but this thing feels cavernous, you know. It's got a lot of room in it. I tend to think it's maybe a little bigger than the other ones in terms of storage space, and you know, it's got a lot of bells and whistles usually with it, but of course it does add on some weight. This one I think is in the 34 ounce range or so. I'll try to pull up the specs, but the older circuits and ULA packs had a lot more whiz bangs on them. They've been trimming them down a little bit to save on weight and cost, so they have things as add-ons now. But I got like the accessory pouch here for the straps. The straps have some padding to them. It's not the most in the world, but it's not that bad. And really nice pockets on the hip belt. And the pouches here are pretty spacious. I can usually fit quite a bit in there. And not too bad. This is one little feature I do like in the ULAs, and you can get add-ons for some packs out there. I think Z-Packs has a stick-on option, but these little little pouch bags in there. You can put your wallet, your keys, whatever in there if you want, so you ain't gonna lose them while you're out hiking. And I mean, you can get like water bladders and other things too. Some of the ULAs also had, I don't know if this one has it. Yes, it does. It's got these little hand hold loops too to kind of keep your hands busy while you're walking, so you ain't playing pocket pool. Those are now like an add-on option, but on the older ones they still had all that stuff with them. So it's a nice pack. One of the other features that the ULA has that the Gossamer G4-20 has is these little side straps. So you can clip your bag together up top, or you can use these side buckle straps to pull things down a little more cleanly. As you can see here, that's just the standard you know, single strap. So if you got some big obtuse tent, bear canister, whatever, you might have to find another way of securing it if you think it's gonna wobble around a bit. So that's one thing I like, are the V-straps on some packs. I kind of wish that ULA would have that as an option, but they currently don't. Alright, so here I've got the tried and true ULA Circuit. So this is probably the biggest pack out of all of them in terms of volume and space. It's kind of rated like that too, but like I said, the XPAC is probably a good happy medium if you're looking for water resistancy. But as time goes forward and they start pushing out more of the Ultra products on their line, hopefully the prices will come down on them and color availability will be expanded, because right now when they have their Ultra 24, which is Ultra 200 on the main pack and then 400 on the side pockets for abrasion resistance, they're selling them for $100 more than the regular packs, which that's like $100 more than everybody else. So I'm not sure if that premium's worth it yet. And like I said, it's only in like a kind of grayish black color right now. So if you're like Henry Ford and you like black as your only color option, then fine. But if you want, you know, orange, blue, red, green, whatever, you're probably gonna have to wait a little while. So now this one in XPAC's pretty nice. It's got the 4 points here that you can pull forward, just the way the hip belt is. And then you do have the load lifters, so you can pull this in nice and tight, which I love that. It rides great for my shoulders because it pulls everything close. I can pull my hip belt tight, transfer all that weight and load to my hips, and take it off of my bad shoulders. So that's one thing. If you got any shoulder issues or you're older, you may want to invest in a pack that's got load lifters. Like I said, it's well worth it. This one has a nice full suspension in it too, so you know, all that weight and stuff is distributed. There's a little bit of padding in there for it. The hip belt has like a Velcro adjustment for your height, so this is like a medium. The hip belt's a medium, and you know, just you can go out on their sites, figure out what your torso length is, go from the knot at the bottom of your neck where it meets the shoulders, that little knobby part, that's the C7 vertebrae, and you go up to the top of your hip bones, the iliac crest, and you have a friend help measure between those 2 points, and you're probably somewhere between 15 to 21 inches, you know, depending on your height, depending on your torso, leg length, all that stuff. But get that measured up, because that's really important. You don't want it too short, you don't want it too long, because you want the load to be able to transfer to the hip belt, which helps make your back and your shoulders a lot more comfortable, and you can hike more miles that way. Like I said, this is my tried and true Circuit. You know, it's got huge pockets. They're kind of high up, so I can kind of reach them. But in terms of water bottles, yeah, it's kind of a pain in the butt trying to get one out, because I don't have much movement anymore going back that way. So that's the only bad thing about buying stuff online. You can't try it out ahead of time to see ergonomically how it's going to fit you. But you know, if you work with a few packs, you can get an idea, you know, based on how high the pockets are and everything else, maybe if it'll fit for you. Like I say, you can get add-on pouches, whatever companies you want, if you want to put your water bottles up front, fine and dandy. Now the hip belt, it's got these pockets in here too, and gotta find where the heck the zippers are. I don't know if I've used the hip pockets on this one. So it's got a little bit of room in there, and it's got the weather resistant zippers and stuff, so you can put snacks, little knickknacks or whatever for the day, some Leuco tape, something in there if you need it real quick. That is a nice thing about having pockets on your hip belt. Yeah, it is extra weight and stuff, but it's a convenience factor too. So it really depends what kind of hiker you are, what your requirements are, and you know what you're aiming to achieve. So hopefully this gave you a little bit of information. Apologize for the dimming light. That one lady out there again is going to be like, why are you filming in the midnight darkness? Ah! But you know, shortness of time, work, life, family, everything. So try to get to it when I can. So anywho, a lot of pack options out there, a lot of fabric options out there, size options, you know, 40 liters, pretty decent, you know. If you want to do, you know, 2-3 day backpack trip, 40 liters probably a pretty good place to be. If you're wanting to go for like 10 days, you probably want to size up to more, you know, 55, 60 liter internal volume. But, you know, obviously the larger you get, the more weight you got, everything else. So it all kind of adds up to whatever you're wanting to do. Summertime, 35, 40, 45 liters, probably in your sweet spots for a lot of it. If you're doing just like a one night overnighter, you could probably get away with like 28 liters. You know, I'm sure there's somebody out there who's done it in a 19 liter, but I'm not him. So but for a lot of these packs, there's a lot of similarities, but there are some subtle differences. So just be aware of that when you're looking for any of these, what your needs are, what kind of back you have, you know, if you got any aches and pains or not, or if you're, you know, young and fit. It really depends what you think you're going to want for your comfort or your speed or your weight or whatever factors you're trying to, you know, play in there. Pricing's always one of them too that comes in. So like I say, if you get to the Ultras and the Dynemas, they're going to be light packs, but you're going to pay a little more for them, but you have the extra water resistance in them. And let's say going from Dynema now to the Ultra fabrics, you've got the extra durability that you would have in, say, the older Robics. You know, so there's different considerations. Just think about those things when you buy something. And, you know, you buy one, you may decide, you know, yeah, it's the right pack. No, it's not the right pack. Hopefully you can send it back. If not, maybe you fall in love with it, try it for a few years, something better comes along, you try another pack. You know, you can have multiple packs if you have the money to do it. Something's shaking over there. So, you know, just find what's right for you and go forth, have fun, enjoy yourself in the outdoors, and guess I'll catch you again on trail somewhere. So if you like what you've seen, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, give me a thumbs up. If you don't like me, click that thumb down button twice. Yeah, and then I'll catch you again in the outdoors. As always, thanks for watching.